Hi, I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Casey. We're building our own 2-story stick frame house
And clearing land for our farm, Cornucopia Orchards. We're tired of wet floors in the house. Now it's time to close up the roof. First, we'll finish the pony walls and blocking, and then, finally, we'll get the boards on, nailed and taped. So we just did a little cleanup and we're on the pony walls today. These are only 5 foot high, so it shouldn't be any problem. So essentially it's bottom plate, even though we're on a beam. We're gonna go ahead and just build the wall that way as they directed. And then double top plate up at 5 feet. We've measured, there's a line over there, you probably can't see, but we've measured up 5 feet on the true vertical plumbed measure. And we did that there, here in the center, there in the center, and there on that side. So what we're doing here is I have a board, and our board is pre-marked at 5 feet, which is where we need to be as far as the vertical on this wall. I'm just taking that board, running it up with a level on the side, and getting it nicely plumbed up. And when it's fully plumbed, bubble splits that middle very, very perfectly. Just running across the top, marking what that is, and then using that to get my bird's mouth. So our pony walls are 5 feet plus or minus marked on the plans. In reality, what we've done is we've made them exactly 5 feet, and I've given myself with our cuts 1/8 of an inch of wiggle room or so. That means that we take into account how much the beam comes up out of the floor, which is in the case of the first one I'm building, which is behind me, behind you, 2 inches, and then you take into account your double top plate and your bottom plate, so a total of 6.5 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and give a little bit of extra cut on that. So you can see why I like to give myself that little bit of extra room. It ended up being tight on the tips. My cuts weren't perfect, and there is some bow to these boards. You can see sandwiched in the middle, you're fine. On the outside, it comes up a little bit on some of them, and that's more than enough for it to change exactly where you sit. The last thing I'm gonna do, before I toenail this in, I'll align it this way, make sure it's over the stud. And then I'm also going to make sure that I'm actually plumbed, because I did give myself extra, so if I just slot it all the way to the back of my cut, then that's going to cause me a problem. So I'll plumb this up on each end and then start nailing in the interim. All right, so we're going to be adding the fascia to the outside of our ladder here. And it's just shy of what it needs to be to run the full way down to the corner. So we're just going to run from the top, nail it in up here, and then the last 7 or 8 inch piece, it's really minuscule, it's just what it is, will go in on the bottom. And then that way any water damage it does take over time, it's not going to go, you know, all the way down the board. It's just got a little ways to go. So we're going to just bend an eye. He's going to lean out on the bottom, I'll hold it and lean out on the top, and we'll get that nailed.
Once we have pull it all the way out. We push up. And get to air position. Okay. So you mount up the way you need to mount up. Alright, I think we can do that. Okay.
You don't have to install your fascia before you install your sheathing, if you have a subfascia, which our gable walls do. Our eaves don't, so we had to install that before sheathing, and our gables we chose to, because this just seemed easier than laddering the board up after the fact. The best part about the fascia is that it's a light wood, spruce or pine I think, so a long board in an awkward position like that, it isn't so bad. After all, its job isn't structural, it just needs to look pretty.
Pyro, Jeremy.
Blocking does a lot to stiffen up the rafters, and once the LS50 framing clips are attached, it will solidly hold the pony walls to the rafters. It also keeps you honest on your spacing. In our case, 24 inches on center means 22 3/8 inch blocking. Really, it's 22 1/2, less an eighth of an inch for board warp. If we were not reserving the top 2 inches of the rafters or so for air movement, we would be running nails from the sheathing into the blocking as well, like we will at the eaves. That blocking will have 4 holes in each board to allow air from the soffits to pass through, which then travels up the rafters to vent at the ridge, necessitating the middle boards to have no top to them, that 2-inch gap. Don't worry, in case you thought I was done handling material, Ben and I are not done handling material. We're bringing up the roof sheathing, and as we don't do anything with machinery around here because I'm cheap as all get out, essentially that means handling by hand. So we just brought it up the stairs after running it on the tractor as far as we could, which is just to the window. And now we are gonna get the right nails loaded and start over here in the corner.
It doesn't work. I'm gonna have to hurt somebody. Everything's gonna be alright now.
Put my ear muffins in your pocket.
Yeah.
They're actually like ear blueberries.
Well, anymore. They're more like ear balls of wax.
Some of the steps in our build required careful planning to execute safely. If you needed some more help to hold the sheets, you could temporarily install some blocks on the fascia, jutting up above where the sheathing would go, to hold those boards on the roof while you secured them. With Ben's help, the starting row of sheathing was easily muscleable through the rafters, though.
We're covering the line, and we have to go out further. If I'm in the center here, I'm all near touching that edge of the board down there.
Okay, make it more right on the bottom than the top.
Why don't you put a nail in? Yeah, and we can check our
point.
Yeah.
Well, we have like 3/4 of an inch on the fascia to go if we needed to.
Which would allow us to correct this.
Yeah. I'll get a hammer and get that nail out.
Hey, it's almost like that. Okay, check out this again. So it's still not.
That's fine.
Okay.
I suspect that's probably the rafter.
Okay.
Let me go down and sight it from way down the line. Let's put in 2 nails and get the next board on and see how it sits relative to that one.
Yep.
Right on that knot.
This is how Jeremy got a new phone. Okay, we're safe from phone. Phone's safe. Okay. Oh boy.
It likes
We
about like there.
we have a little bit.
Does it look good at the bottom? Can you tell? It's going to be right about at the
We
white.
should be pretty good. The top of it's hanging over. The bottom is right about at the corner. Would be my words.
All right. Let me come and peek-see at the peek-see here.
Fine.
Yeah, that looks great.
Square house.
Honestly. We spent a lot of time making sure the first row was aligned as close to perfect as we could, and it made the rest of the sheathing easy and much faster to run bottom to top. Even being a little off square with the sheathing on floors, roofs, or even walls can make a big difference. Try that. So last one is a cut sheet because we're at 36 feet with the two eaves. And with the cut sheet, it's interesting to try and get both him and I out there not as heavy, so it should be fine. Okay. This is the side I wanted to butt. Oh, okay. Yeah. Man, warpboard. Technically, this whole way we're supposed to maintain an 1/8 of an inch between boards.
Good job. Yeah.
Did you die?
Yeah. You shot me with plastic.
My preference is definitely to run zip tape as you go, which we haven't done with the wall sheathing as much as I'd like. These first two rows aren't a place where I want to be walking any more than I have to when I'm harnessed up, so a little reach here suits me just fine. In general, I prefer the roller to using a squeegee, as that is what Zip references in their installation. However, you'll see me using a squeegee when I'm harnessed on the roof because I can do it much easier with one hand and still get the required pressure for good adhesion on the tape.
Should I go one closer? Well, I think this is what it will be on, right?
It'll be up into here somewhere.
Right, but I mean, it will come to this board this
Yes.
way.
This will probably work.
Ish. Let's scream at me and die. Ouch. Okay, it will come loose here right about now. Drop it down.
Well, we got to the point where we felt like we really couldn't keep taping without bringing the harness out and putting that on. If I'm gonna have a harness on, I might as well just do the tape all as a one-step kind of a thing. So third row, we decided to omit the taping, and obviously going a lot faster without having the taping. So should have the fourth one up in a jiffy, right, Ben?
Yeah.
So we are at the peak on the one side minus, a strip of some undetermined length. And we're trying to determine, given that we have this stairs void, how we want to get the first sheets up into that space. I'm thinking probably I'm going to be walking on these, and then Ben's going to be handing up the sheets through with the red ladder and or the extendable ladder.
And out with that. Does it need more?
I think that's all you can reach.
Okay.
It's an all you can reach buffet. So we figured out a system. These are great for standing on. These are the collar ties. And we're kind of working down that direction. So, I'm pressing against where the nails are. So I feel good about that. There's like 9 nails in there, so I should feel good about that either way. We are going to be missing a few nails on the bottom because I just can't quite get over this and that and reach into the middle. Not a huge deal because I already have to come back and do all the taping and nailing like on the outsides in that corner down there on each of the sheets. So, but yeah, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Not dead yet. Oh, it's really poopy. This one going to suck.
I've filmed it so so it is here for all posterity.
Well, since it's here for all prospects.
So he got to bring the board up way over there, right? So I got to get myself shimmy, 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 shake.
I'm going to bring it up here, which is one closer than I want to bring it up in, which
Oh.
means we'll have to shift it back and forth.
Oh
The
yeah.
last one is tiny.
Dad's gonna cut the last little piece while we're doing that for the outside on this upper row. And it's only, as you can see, it's not very much on that. Not enough for me to fit through. Not as skinny as I'd like to think, apparently. But enough that we do need to put another little piece up along that whole way. Now, if you're ready, Ben.
Oh, good.
I'll put you away now. Need both hands. So we chose to use 1/2 inch, true 1/2 inch zip, and we have the option of 7/16 with H clips, 1/2 inch, or 5/8. And the 1/2 inch was enough, and I did not have any concerns from a weight or engineering perspective to need to go to 5/8, so I went ahead and stuck with 1/2. The sourcing was going to be a little bit easier, and it was already very hard to source out here because zip is just selling so well, and we're so far away from where it's manufactured. So we went with 1/2. We're attaching with 2 3/8 galvanized ring shank, and from my perspective, that just means that these are going to last as long as they possibly can. The system itself is rated for 30 years. I'm hoping that it lasts, my effective lifespan, and then someone else can deal with replacing the roof, assuming we're here that full time. Minus nails on the bottom, so I'll need to get my harness on, all the tape, and the last little strip on the top. And this side is pretty well done. Subscribe for our next video coming soon. My lovely assistant, keeping me from falling and dying, or planning me to fall and die. Not really sure which one he's going for. It seems to be straight down. Why, yes, it does.
Don't fall with it.
Thanks for watching.
See you next time.